Hey everyone, and welcome to RX Tech Minds. This is a level that I have been looking forward to. I quite like the level, and this is one of those levels that you can make quite a bit easier with the right sort of techniques. By that I mean if you know how to abuse things, if you know how to abuse levels, if you know how to abuse games. That sort of stuff we're talking about here. Glitches, even not glitches. I mean, shortcuts, glitched shortcuts, glitchless shortcuts, glitches in general, shortcuts in general. All lovely, lovely stuff. And comes in handy in this level, but admittedly probably comes in handy in pretty much every level. Because pretty much every Tomb Raider level has glitches. So I'm going to hold back for a moment because I don't want to go running out and get myself caught on fire, so I'm going to hold back. Yeah, those flamethrower guys are allies to us and they take out the mutants. So if a flamethrower guy is attacking mutants, it's a good idea to just hold back and let him get on with it, because if you get in the way of his fire, then it will kill you the same way it kills them. Now normally with the minecarts, you would save the top one until last, and that's what we're doing in this case, but you would normally do the middle one first, then the bottom one, and then the top one, but because of certain like techniques and tricks and stuff, I'm actually doing the bottom one first, as you can see, and I'm not going to be using the middle one at all. And then I'll be using the top one. Okay, save game crystal, come to me. And we go down here and experience the joys of giant mutants. And I'm talking about the sarcastic sort of joys. The sort of sarcastic joys that are not joys at all, and in reality are very far from it. Okay, I'm gonna come to here, wait for the mutant, and not run into a wall. Or that wall. Or that wall. Well, at least I'm on the ladder. That mutant is not my biggest threat. There's two coming up who I'm more concerned about. Because the two coming up, you need to, at times, shoot them in order to make them run in a certain direction, and which means you need them to cooperate, and also there's a bit with icy water where it's really easy for them to knock you into it, which can potentially kill you. And I think I'm just about there. Right, so you can't really see it, but there's a door over there with a switch, which unfortunately, well, it's where you need to go, but it triggers another mutant. So I'm not actually going to do that yet, because if I was, then it would mean having a second mutant on me for this bit, so I would rather delay triggering the second mutant. Right, am I picking that item up? Why am I picking the item up? Yeah, if I was to push the button, then it opens the door, which leads to where I later need to go. But yeah, triggers another mutant, and it would mean having a second mutant on me for this bit, so I'd rather not push the button yet, and just do this bit first with only one mutant on me. And there was a bit of weirdness there, because for some reason I didn't appear to be picking the item up, but I think I am now picking it up. Yeah. Right, I want that mutant to run outside, which will enable me to safely get to this button, open the door, trigger the other mutant, get up to here. Now I want both of them to run outside. And then by pushing that button, I trap both of them outside, and now I can do this bit without any trouble from mutants. It's just trying to push this button with them on you would be potentially annoying, not to mention making this jump here. They could easily knock you about, and failing to make that jump would result in you falling to your death. Not very smart. And instead of getting back on the minecart and returning to the main room, I'm instead going to be jumping up here. And I'm going to go down this way, which takes me to where you would be taken to if you were to get on the middle minecart. And I've just messed up a bit here, because this space here triggers the save game crystal plus the flamethrower guy and the mutant, and I was hoping to do a get to here without stepping on the trigger space, so that I could pick up the save game crystal while it's inactive, then go back to the trigger space and get the save game crystal again. But I messed up there. But don't worry. If I didn't have far more save game crystals than I needed, then that may have bothered me, but it's alright. I've got a lot of save game crystals. And it makes sense to go to the left, because the ground below you is slightly higher on the left, which means less of a drop, so less health loss. Common sense there. Now to proceed. And one of the bits coming up is quite key. There's a bit where below us, I pull myself up and go for a crawl space, and there's a mutant, and the mutant is almost certainly going to poison me. It is possible to do it without getting poisoned, but it takes quite a lot of time, and I would just rather just do it my way and pop a health pack. Well, I'm poisoned anyway, so what does it matter? And then the bit beyond, there's a flamethrower guy as well as several mutants. And this bit is very important. It's very important that I come down here and trigger that mutant. The reason why that's so key is because the first mutant that I went past, if you leave that mutant alive, then the flamethrower guy sometimes will kill the first mutant that he kills, and then attempt to go after the mutant down there, but he'll actually walk into the water and end up killing himself, which means the other mutants will be left alive, which is potentially a pain. But by triggering the one down there, like I did, it results in the flamethrower guy instead going for that mutant, and usually stops him from walking into the water and killing himself. And that way he can successfully kill all the mutants, which makes life easier for us. And I come over here so that I can push a button which opens a door which presents us access to the first and second secret. And also saves us from needing to backtrack on a minecart. So the first minecart stays where it is, the second minecart doesn't get used, and the third minecart is the next one to use, and the only other one that I need to use. And falling into the water is not a sensible idea. The only downside, but one of the downsides, is that it does require quite a tricky glitch. It's not yet, but I'll point it out when I get there. Because in order to backtrack, there is a glitch. I don't really know what the name of the glitch is, but it is quite a monster of a glitch. You do need to practice it a fair bit, and that is pretty much the only downside. But one of the downsides is it forces you to pull off quite a tricky glitch. Well, that was smart. Why do I keep doing that? That's better. Mutant. Can I get by you without getting poisoned? The answer is yes. Yeah, it's not. Although it's not the hardest thing in the world. Okay, yeah, this is the glitch This is the rather tricky glitch, because I've got to get back up there, and you're not meant to be able to do it, so we have to use a glitch. We start off by doing a crawl bug, like that. Then we have to turn around while staying partly in the wall, which I've already found at. Okay, let's try that again. And I fell again. I've got to go so that I'm virtually looking straight onwards. Okay, I messed up again. But yeah, you have to turn around while keeping partly in the wall, and turn around until you're almost looking straight onwards, and then move forwards. At the moment, I'm not doing a very good job at this. Okay, now I've got to turn around again while keeping partly in the wall, and then roll while keeping partly in the wall. And I failed. That's probably the hardest bit, because you have to turn around while keeping partly in the wall, and then like roll at the perfect time and with perfect positioning, while again keeping partly in the wall. And then from there, you pretty much just have to sit back. Let's see if I can try this again. All fairness to speedrunners. Because if you're a speedrunner, then you have to get this right on your first try. And well, I've seen speedrunners do this, and they make it look easy. All fairness to them, because I am awful with glitches. Okay, I'm probably going to cut forward, because this is getting quite embarrassing, to be honest. Okay, well, I've made it up to this point, and the only reason why my guns are out is because speedrunners do it that way, which gives me the impression that there must be some sort of benefit in doing it, so that's why I'm doing it. And, having come this far, I should now succeed at this, but I can't deny that it was I found it kind of embarrassing. Speedrunners, you see them do that glitch on their first try, but I was there for ages trying, and there's no denying it. That was embarrassing. That was. There's no way of saying that was just embarrassing. There's no other way of saying it. I did an awful job at that. This is one of the save game crystals that can be collected twice. I've picked it up with it inactive, and I could, if I want to, find its trigger spot and then backtrack and get it again, but that could mean getting poisoned because of a mutant that's now spawned. So I think I'll leave it. Okay, I'm gonna use the crowbar to get into here and get the other mandatory item. Then I can get onto the top minecart and well, go to the end of the level. And the whole trick of saving and reloading, this is where it persistently comes in handy. Because this bit here, I don't know if it's physically possible to do this bit without using health packs if you don't use the glitch. This is the one bit where pretty much everyone who knows about the glitch and is willing to use glitches uses this glitch. Is it possible to do this without the save and reload trick? Is it possible to do this bit without health packs? I don't know. Certainly I've never done it. So I come down this far, and I'm already in a bit of a dodgy position here. Jesus. And this isn't even the hard bit. There is a large health pack here, so I suppose it occurred to Core that if you can't do this bit without health, then they'd put a large health pack there, just as a way of compensating. I possibly didn't need to save there. I possibly don't need to reload, but when you've got so many save game crystals, you just sort of put yourself in a position of valuing health packs more, or trying to be more careful with health packs. And there is another health pack here, again, presumably to compensate. I didn't save that time because having come this far, you should be able to complete the level now, no problem. There are mutants, but they're easy to avoid. Some of them you don't even need to trigger. So I should be okay. Though I am triggering one over there. I'm doing this because I want to get the secret in a certain way. Yeah, I did trigger those mutants. That's only because I wanted to drop down to the secret this way, because in doing so, it saves me from having to do these awkward jumps twice. Because normally you have to get over here by doing these awkward jumps and then go back by doing these awkward jumps. But by getting here that way, it means I only have to do these awkward jumps once. I don't know where the mutants are, they're probably up here nearby. Even if I get poisoned, it shouldn't matter, because the end of the level's right here. Yeah, 3 out of 3 secret, 0 kills. All good. Thank you for watching and hope you enjoyed.